Hi, it's Christina Myers, host of This Team to Life. There is an increasing feeling of indifference that many of us are experiencing these days, and it's helping us to untether from the societal pressures and structures we have come to know. There's also a change in the energies that we are working with that are helping to support us as we go deeper within ourselves and we find our authenticity and our truth. Let's get into this episode. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. We are officially in summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemispheres. And most recently, we had the solstice, which was such an important energetic reset for us collectively. The solstices are really one of the most important times of the year, along with the equinoxes, where we are both stopping and reflecting on how far we've come, each of us, but we are also recalibrating and rebalancing the energies in ourselves and on the planet. And it's this beautiful dance between the light and the dark. It is also a beautiful dance between our masculine and our feminine energies. It is a beautiful dance between our inner landscape and our outer landscape, what our emotional world is versus what our outer expression is into the world. And so all of these pieces and points are a great time to pause and reflect and realign. We have this beautiful Cancer Capricorn axis point right now where we are really on the Cancer mansion side of things. We've turned inward. We are looking at the inner landscape of our lives. We are looking at who and how we behave behind closed doors. We are looking at our family of origin, and the ancestral pieces are coming up, and our emotions are coming up to the forefront. So there's a lot of things that are going on that are following us from our past as we are sitting within this Cancer mansion and really digging under the surface a bit more so we can address the emotional components and the things that we may be carrying that are ready to be let go of, that we have been holding on to, especially as it relates to our past. And then the Capricorn piece of it is about our ambitions. It is about our long-term goals. It is about our outward approach to life. It's where we have steady and long-term growth. And it's very much about our legacy as well. And we just had the first of 2 full moons in Capricorn last week. That one was at 1 degrees. We will have a second one again on July 21st. That's at 29 degrees. So think about it as an ending or the fullest expression of that energy. So as we make our way through Cancer season, we have this juxtaposition between this inner landscape and where we are setting our sights and where our ambitions are going to take us. And so there's going to be a bit of a push-pull. And I've been talking a lot about the fact that we are going through this major transitional period individually as we are starting to very much focus in. It's almost a laser focused effect on where we are holding on to things that no longer serve us. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that the collective North Node moved into Aries last summer, and we are letting go of the over accommodation, and we're moving into this whole idea of where we can further step into our own personal power and where we can step into taking control over the things that we want to achieve in this lifetime. So the Capricorn energy and the full moons that we're having is about what are we releasing? What are the blocks? What are the structures? What are the things that we have put in place that are holding us back from achieving our goals? What is it that is in place that we need to break down, that we need to release, that we need to untether from? And this is another layer that we are getting collectively and individually right now, as the entire world, the entire system, everything is starting to really begin to crumble. And if you just look around and you pay any attention, you're tuning in to just what's going on within all the different types of government structures, you're seeing so many more protests happening. You're seeing things that have been hidden are just blatantly in our faces right now. And this is coming into our consciousness because it is this time, a very pivotal time that we are in as a collective, that we are shifting so much that we have to have things so much in our face and so exposed before we're going to make a change collectively. And so many of you are going through this major transition period right now. And there is really, I think, two camps from what I can see. And there's probably more than two camps. There's probably quite a few different camps, but these are the ones that I'm noticing right now. There is a camp that is very much feeling this bubbling up, this amplification of all of these constrictions, of all of these things that we've kind of ignored, that we haven't wanted to look at. And they're coming up and they're getting in your face right now. So much so to the point that there is no ability at all to turn away from it. There's no more ignoring it, pushing it down, trying to walk away from it. It's forcing you at this point. If you've tried to avoid it, there's not much avoiding a situation right now. The pressure is there. It's in your face. There is an invitation to sit with what it is that you've been pushing off and to deal with it at this time. And this can feel like you're in a tornado, that you're in this pressure cooker situation because there's an amplification of this energy increasing around you. We are in an 8-year. I will say this again. I know I've talked about this before, but an 8-year in the numerology, an 8-year represents karma. It represents power struggles. It represents as above, so below. It represents the duality of these two realities. It also represents an infinity, infinite possibilities. There's strength within the 8 number. There's power. All of these things come up, but the big theme that I am consistently seeing is around karma. And if you're feeling like you're in the pressure cooker, it is because the karmic pieces that you came into human form to address are presenting themselves to you so you can clean them up and release them. And there's an amplification right now because there is a collective push that we have to let go of the karma before we can fully step in to our freedom. And so I've been in this situation. So for months I have been, and for years really, I've been clearing the karma, clearing ancestral karma, clearing contractual karma, clearing personal trauma, all of that. And when you come in to be in a human experience, when you come and volunteer to be on earth, what you are doing is you are bringing karma from your previous lifetimes to the situation. And there's no avoiding karma on earth because the whole reason we are here is to have these experiences to help us grow. But as we grow, we also have these situations that will produce karma. And that karma, if not addressed and healed at the time, is only going to accumulate and is only going to follow you from lifetime to lifetime. And this is what's happening. This amplification is coming up, and there's much more pressure around this because we are collectively and energetically going into this pressure cooker situation. It's almost like we're going in to this tube or to this tunnel or to this portal, and everything's trying to get pushed through there. You know, like a tube of toothpaste when you're trying to squeeze the last little bits of it out. It's almost that feeling. It's like it's squeezing a vice grip that's going in, trying to extract every last piece of residual energy. And that is what it feels like. There's just this, I don't know, I feel like there's this whole transition that we're going through. We've been put into this world where there has been so much restriction and expectations on how we are to live our life. And the ideas around success have been shaped by the pressures of what our society has said they should be. And I think in many ways, there is a distaste for that restriction anymore. And part of this karmic process is releasing from those structures. It's being able to untether and let go and try and readjust to more of a new normal. And so as you're thinking about and going through maybe a pressure cooker moment right now, imagine yourself more on the other side of that, like timeline jump, literally timeline jump, and imagine yourself jumping through that timeline, and you look at it from the other side of it, that you're completely through it already, and the release and the relief and the freedom that you're going to be experiencing as you move through this. Everything's temporary. Everything is temporary. And if you go with it at that approach, this is something that I have to go through, but it's temporary. And once I come out of that, it's going to be a lot more fulfilling and joyful, and more freedom will come in, and more peace will come into my life. So I know this is not the easiest thing, but trust me when I say it's temporary and you will get through it. So that is the group that I'm seeing, one group that I'm seeing and what they're going through. The secondary group that I am seeing are those of you who have gone through the karmic release, and you are now in a state of kind of not knowing what the next steps are in some ways. You are sitting in a void right now. You're sitting in a place where you have released from your old life, but you don't know what the new life looks like yet. You don't know what your new normal is yet, and you're adjusting. And this can feel unfamiliar. This can feel very uncomfortable because, again, we're used to a certain way of living, and we're used to a certain expectation on us of how we are supposed to do things. And I would say there's an amplification for women, especially because we have been trained and conditioned to push even harder and to feel very guilty when we are wanting to rest, when we're wanting to flow, when we're wanting to just be. And there's an expectation that we are always supposed to produce and that we're always supposed to take care of other people. And so this void period it's just uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. And our nervous systems are needing this time to just not do anything because it has to reset. And for many of you, you have been in a hypervigilance mode for your entire lifetime. You have been in traumatic situations. You have been experiencing external stimuli that has continued to increase over your lifetime. I mean, if I think about my lifetime, it started with radio, and then it started with TV, and then the internet came, and then social media started, and then text messaging happened. And so there's been this increase and this pressure to be on all the time and feeling like there's more and more and more, and this ramping up. And we've become conditioned to that. And it, for me personally, it's just fried my entire system. And so there's a decompression mode and process that we have to go through in order to calm our system down and to get back to 0 point. It's been interesting this year as I've been turning inward. I'm in a hermit mode where I am been working kind of individually one-on-one on things. So there's been, releasing of people and contracts and situations that no longer serve me. There has been a lot of emotional release of emotions that I've been holding on to for a long time. And I feel like this stage that I'm in right now is about resetting the physical system. So I went through a big purging process earlier in the year when I got very sick. There was a clearing out of a lot of energies out of my digestion tract. And as we have been receiving more energies coming in, I have been feeling it in the physical system. And so I'm noticing that deep within the fascia, deep within the muscles, deep within the bones, there is a excavation process happening right now where it's going through my system and the physical structure piece by piece. And we are slowly and methodically releasing every single piece of residual energy. And right now I'm working a lot on my back because everything from my past has to be let go. And it's just so interesting to begin to look at all the different components, like where do I have pain? Where am I still holding on to things, and where is it coming from? And it's just, I know exactly what it is, because when we start to work on certain parts, oh yes, it's the weight and the feeling of feeling responsible for everybody and trying to get something done in this lifetime. And so my shoulders are always locked up, and my upper back is always locked up. And then if I look to my hips, it's all this emotional baggage that I've been carrying for other people. If I look to my stomach, it was the allowing of people to cord into me and use my energy pack. So there's all kinds of different ways that we start to see patterns of behavior when we start to understand how we are carrying, what emotions we're carrying, and then what is that tied to in the physical body? Where are we feeling the pain and the uncomfortableness in the physical body? And so you may be experiencing that right now as we are going through these major shifts, as we are having these massive amounts of energy coming in, blasting us, and we're integrating. You may be experiencing physical pain at this time, and that is an invitation to really sit with that physical pain, identify where it is in your body, and look at how that's correlating to where you're holding on to emotions. I have announced that I've got some new on-demand classes. One of the classes that I have that's on demand is around the chakra system. This is a really important class if you want to learn how our emotions affect our physical structure. This goes through all the different chakra points, the main 7 chakra points. And I talk to you about what emotions we're holding on to, what organs these are tied to, how you could be experiencing this in the physical pieces, how this is coming out, and how to release it. So we've got a whole releasing technique that I walk through. So all of that's on demand at your pace. And that's a really good one, as well as the nervous system. course that also gives you tools to put in your tool bag to help regulate your nervous system. So these are just fundamentals that you can have with you as we are experiencing so much change coming up. Trust me, everybody is going to be going through a massive, massive change. The other thing that I am observing is as we are beginning to untether from these expectations and these experiences, and there's also this transitional period of feeling very unattached to things, there is an air of not really caring about anything. Like I don't know, there's an indifference happening where we just don't really care about things. And it's not that we don't care, but it's just a neutrality to things. As we're gracefully releasing and letting things go, there's almost a 0Fs feeling. That's what I'm sensing here from a lot of people that I am talking to and I'm observing. And, to me, this neutrality piece, this indifference piece is a big sign of our evolution, of our consciousness coming online, of the ability to surrender and trust in everything that is, because we're no longer clinging to our past and we have stopped worrying about what the future holds. We're simply in the here and now. And this feeling of, again, wanting to do something, and I've been having these conversations, it's like I feel like I need to be doing something. I need to be creating something. I need to do this, and this. And I have really zero motivation to do much of anything. And it's nice because not having a plan, not having obligations, not feeling the pressure to constantly do and go, and really just sinking into what feels good in the moment has been such a nice reprieve from my entire life, right? And so I'm curious to know if you're also feeling that push. It's not really a push. I guess I should say it's more of, are you feeling that release to not feel like you have to do anything, that there's just zero plan, zero obligation, and that you're just going to flow through life and flow with life. On the last podcast episode, I talked about this message that came through recently, and I think it's very apropos as we're talking about all this transition that's happening, and especially for those of you that are feeling this release from needing to have any push at all to do anything. And the message was, I woke up in the middle of the night. This is when we were getting a lot of energy coming in, a lot. And I was not sleeping. I was up every 30 minutes because I was having to release the energies that were coming through. And I got this message in the middle of the night that says, we have moved into 60 consciousness. And I didn't go into a lot of detail about 60 consciousness on the last episode because there's so many interpretations of all of this. What's 5D? What's 3D? What's 6D? What's 12D? We get very caught up in feeling like we have to know the answers and we have to be right about it. And there seems to be a lot of polarization and criticism around, what do you know? How do you know? Blah, 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 right? But I was just doing a little bit of research around other people's interpretations of what 6D consciousness means. And I found one interpretation that seemed pretty aligned to just how I have been feeling right now. And I wanted to share that with you in hopes that this may resonate for you. It says 60 consciousness that is fully devoted to one's inner guidance and essence, not just in theory, but in a practical sense. It can only be called 6D when you are able to walk Earth unhindered by the energy pressures of the surrounding conceptual systems. external events and persons can still affect and disturb you from time to time, but they don't impede you from sticking to your choice of following your life path, regardless of what it is. And this is from Nuno Alves. And I feel that this was very much aligned to exactly how I am feeling right now, where you're able to just untether. Nothing is bothering you. You don't feel pressure on anything. You may have some situations that come up that may be a little curveball that's just thrown your way, but they're not impeding you. They're not going to stop you from following your path and staying on your course and not giving any F's, zero, about what anybody thinks. And this is a perfect summary of exactly how I've been feeling. It's just being. It's just settling in to the unknown, settling into trusting fully the process, to surrendering, and not worrying about anything that's not aligned to who you are. And for many of you as well, these clearing outs, these transitional periods are also bringing a different type of awareness about who you are at your soul's level. There is almost an integration happening right now where things are really starting to come in. And there's an awareness that is happening like no other time at all. And there is a remembrance that is starting to come in. And this is including understanding yourself at a much deeper level than you've ever been able to understand yourself. And there's been a lot of aha moments that have been coming through. There's been so many downloads lately, very much on point about who I am, about what I'm here to do. And I can feel this integration of my higher self coming in to my system. It's a little bit more each day, and it's continuing to bring this clarity to the forefront. And part of doing this karmic cleanup and part of this cleansing process that you may be going through on a physical level is so that higher self can actually start to come in, because it can't come in until the system is cleared out and it's free from all the clutter and all the residual energy. And this is what is starting to really start to percolate to the surface for me personally. And it's crazy. It's exciting. And it's so different and new. And I have to say, there's a little bit of a part of me that feels a little lost right now, that I'm in the in between. I am definitely not who I used to be, pretty much on every level. I have released from everything that has not brought me joy. Anything that's not brought me joy, that's not brought me peace, I have let it go. It's gone. And now it's just sitting and waiting for the full integration to come in. And I can tell that there is a ramping up of this energy happening at this time. And I will share a very personal story with you. So last year, as I was doing a lot of work for the collective, and I was having a lot of people coming to me for sessions and teaching a lot, one thing that came through very clearly among several people that I was seeing, and also was an epiphany for myself, is that I was a soul walk-in this lifetime. And I have done a full episode on soul walk-ins to give a full explanation, but just at a high level, a soul walk-in is a soul that comes in and takes the place of another soul that's already occupying a body on Earth. And there is usually an exchange that happens. Either the soul that had occupied the body was not able to fulfill that contract and needed to leave. There could also be a situation where that soul had agreed to come in for a certain number of years and then trade places with a soul because the other soul needed to come in to complete something. But whatever it is, in any case, the soul that does the walk-in, that agrees to come in and switch places, also agrees to take on all of the karmic responsibilities and fulfillments for that soul that's leaving. And that can be a lot. And so my very first memory is when I was 3 years old. I was laying in my bed. There was a mobile above my head, and I must have been put down for a nap because it was still daytime. The light was pouring in. And I remember looking at my mobile and thinking to myself, I've been here before. And that thought has stuck with me my entire lifetime. And this lifetime, I have always referenced that. I have always gone back to it. It has always been a guiding force for me to realize there's something bigger. There's some reason that I am here, and there's something that I have to do. And I've been here before, but I could never remember why I was here, right? When I had been incarnated, that none of that had been at the forefront or the surface. The other thing that happened when I was around 3 years old, and I think when I came in, is I started having all of these reactions to foods at that time. I was having a lot of very negative reactions. My body was not handling the processing of lower frequency foods. Anything that was processed, anything that had preservatives in it, I could never handle that. And I was diagnosed with food allergies as well as ADHD when I was very young. Well, a very sensitive soul and someone who's tuned in very energetically to things are going to be not a vibrational match to these things, right? That's not something that's going to happen. And so that's been a big clue for me as to confirming that at age 3 I was a walk-in. So what I had an epiphany about recently, this big aha moment, these downloads that are coming in. I've felt this extreme pressure my entire life to get something done. I have to get it done. I have to get it done now. And I've been frustrated when people are in my way, when things are not going fast, all of this stuff. And there's been a buildup to this stuff. And this all culminated last summer. And then it was an unwinding of releasing people and situations and relationships and all kinds of stuff out of my life very quickly. And the aha moment that came through recently was that all of those things that I was feeling, that I was tied to, that was coming in, that I felt the pressure to release from, all of that was because it wasn't tied to my actual soul, the one that walked in. It was tied to the soul that I had replaced, that I had switched places with, because I had agreed to take on all of their karmic debt. And because of that, when I completed all the karmic debt for that soul, I was released from it. And so now, as I'm in this present moment, it was like, oh, I'm done with that soul's responsibility. Now I can actually be truly my authentic self, my soul. I can actually be here in the present. And it's almost like a rebirth. It's almost like I'm having to remember who I am at this time. And so there is this weird transition that's happening right now. As I was talking about, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit in this limbo period because I truly have said goodbye to all this responsibility and all these things that I have been carrying, but I'm still in the process of getting it out of the physical system because my physical body is still carrying those memories. It's still deep within the tissue, the fascia, the bones, and I have to do some work really to get this completely out of the physical system. And that's going to take some time to do that. I've been carrying it for a long time. It's got to release, and it's not going to be done overnight at all. It's getting better, but it's not going to be done overnight. But this higher version, these components that I had forgotten about are starting to trickle in now. And they're blowing my mind. They're blowing my mind right now. And I'm telling you this story because I think that for those of you who are listening to this podcast who are drawn in and especially to my energy, because this is an energy exchange, you're going through a similar situation that you're calling in this highest version of yourself. You're calling in all the lifetimes of wisdom and knowledge that you hold within your DNA blueprint. And it's just a matter of reawakening that blueprint, reawakening that DNA. And it's activating. It's activating for you. And as you are going through a shedding process, and really think about how a snake sheds their skin, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a snake shedding its skin. And this is what I'm seeing for each of you. I'm seeing the skin shedding off and this entire new version of you emerging. And you may not know that version of you at all. It may feel very uncomfortable because you don't remember it, but you will. And it's going to come in piece by piece, just like a puzzle, piece by piece. It will come in slowly and surely. It will start to come in and it will build upon each other. And just like the puzzle, you start to get these little clues about what you're looking at and what you're seeing. And that will be you. That will be you seeing you. It will be your essence, your face, your complete self standing right in front of you. And you'll be able to fully see yourself, all of you, the whole self, the spirit, and the human self, all merged into one. And we are being supported so much by energies that we cannot necessarily see, but they are helping us to get there. And this is why the push, and you may be going through a big push moment right now where you're walking through this karmic cycle. And there's that intensification, that pressure cooker energy coming through right now. You're getting through it. You're pushing yourself through the birth canal. And once you get out of the birth canal, the new version of you will be able to emerge. So just remember, it's temporary. There's so much that we do not understand in our state of humanness. There's so much interference that we receive as we're here on Earth because there's so many distractions. But I had one other quick story that I'm going to tell you about. I had these crazy dreams going on when all this intense energy was coming in. And one of my dreams was that I ended up in Russia. And I was part of this theater group and I was performing. and we needed to get to the airport to leave to go to our next show. And I was at the airport, and this woman said, "Do you want to take a quick shower before you get on the plane and travel?" And I was like, "Oh, that would be so great." So she went in first, and then she came out, and then I went in. And when I went in, I went into like this whole other place. And I was in almost like a town square sort of situation, like a European town square. And there was all these vendors set up everywhere. And one lady pulled me over and she started showing me different things to get my nails done and my hair done and all this. And I said, no, 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 I have to go. Like, I can't stay here. I've got a plane to catch. And I find myself then at a coffee shop, and I'm drinking this coffee. And I distinctly remember I had 1 cup with water and 1 cup with coffee. And I was sipping this, and it was the most delicious thing that I've ever tasted. And then Vladimir Putin, shows up in my dream. And I remember saying, okay, I need to transmute the energy around this. And I started to do that. And then all of a sudden, I see his nemesis, who he just murdered, and Alexei Navalny, come in to the scene. And Alexei Navalny said, no, 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 stop, 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 stop. And he looked at me dead in the eye and he said, Christina, he said, it's all a game. Just play the game. And then I woke up. The reason I wanted to say that, and I wanted to tell that dream, is because we get very forgetful that we're all playing our roles, that we're here, that we're in a play, that we are in this simulation. And we get so worked up about our emotions and what's going on outside of us and what's happening with the government and elections and this thing and that thing, that we forget to zoom all the way out and look at it from, zoom out to outer space and look at the earth from outer space. And think about you on this planet. And realize that the things that we really focus on are a nothing. They're an absolute nothing. And that we're caught up and we're trapped in the game. And the more that we can untether, the more we can release, the more that we can be in a state of indifference, of not really giving 0 Fs, of staying in neutrality, the more power we actually get back, the more we call our energy back to us. And also that we are able then to receive our true selves, our higher selves, the highest version, our soul self. It's just a game. Just play the game. Yeah, just play the game. So I wish you good blessings and easy transitions as you are going through some stuff. I am working on some potential gatherings and healing sessions, group healing sessions coming up in the next couple weeks. So I'm going to look at dates and start to announce these. I'm been really pushed. I'm not doing one-on-one sessions, but I am getting called to do more of these group sessions and bring people together in community right now, because we really do need each other. And we have been in this isolation period, especially since 2000, when the world pushed us into this isolation piece. And it's time to come back into community. It's time to come together. It's time to support each other. And that is where my focus is, on how can I be of a support? How can I bring people together in this time where we need each other more than ever? So be on the lookout for that. I also have my free community Lagome off my website, and we are doing monthly gatherings around the full moons. And I'm also just providing some insights that I don't provide any other place, as well as if you want to sign up for my newsletter, I also provide stuff there too that I don't provide any other place as well, about what's going on energetically. So head over there if you're interested, and I will see you next time. Take care. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, rate, or leave a comment. For sessions and other upcoming offerings, please visit my website at stinamyers.com or follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Stina Life. See you next time.